Hey guys, in this section, we're really focusing on common denominators, but they're not as nice as we remember. They're equations or they're exponents, like the one we're looking at now. So I'm just going to go to something simple over here really quick. If I'm adding or subtracting, let's do subtract because this problem's subtract. If I'm subtracting fractions or adding, I need to find a common denominator. So that means the denominator has to be the same. So the common denominator for 2 and 5 would be 10. And I would multiply the denominator by that number and the numerator. So I would change 1/2 into 5/10. And then over here, in order to get 5 to 10, I would do 5 times 2. And what I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. So 2/5 would become 4/10. And then when I subtract, the denominator stays, and I only do the arithmetic on the numerator. So 5 minus 4 is 1. And that would be my answer. So we're going to apply the same principle to things that are a little more complicated. So I have 3x squared and y to the third, and 4x to the third y to the sixth. So we're going to start with the numbers. If I have 3 and 4, the common denominator would be 12. We're going to multiply those together. So I'm going to rewrite this. I have 8 over 3x squared y to the third minus 9 over 4x to the third y to the sixth. So in order to make this 3 a 12, I have to multiply it by 4. And I'm going to do the same thing on the numerator. And over here, in order to make the 4 a 12, I have to multiply it by 3. And same thing to the numerator. So now I have 32 over 12 x squared y cubed minus 9 times 3, 27, and then 12 x to the third y to the sixth. So now I need to get my x's the same and then my y's the same. So over on the left here I have 2 x's. Here I have 3 x's. So my common denominator, if I'm just focusing on my x's, will be x to the third. So over here I'm going to multiply this by x to make that x to the third. And what you do to the denominator, you do the numerator. Now I'm going to look at my y's. Here I have 3, here I have 6. So the common denominator would be 6y's because I can multiply this y to the third by another y to the third to get 6. And what you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. So now I have 32, 1x, 3y's divided by 12 x to the third y to the sixth. I just combined all of that I had up there. Minus 27, 12 x to the third y to the sixth. So just like when we subtracted our fraction with the tens, remember. It's the same concept. Our denominator is going to stay the same, but we actually subtract the numerator. So the numerator, I would take 32x y to the third minus 27. And this is not something that I can simplify. The 32 has an x and a y, the 27 has nothing. So my answer here is going to be this bottom one. That's as simplified as we go. Okay. So sometimes our common denominator is going to be an expression. So I have 3x over x minus 4 minus 10x over x plus 4. So this one's tricky, but I want to go back to kind of what we did on the last one. When you don't know a common denominator, you can always multiply by the other one. So I multiplied this one by 5 and this one by 2, and then they're going to be the same number on the bottom. So that's the approach we take with equations. I'm going to multiply this x minus 4 by what's over here, by x plus 4. What you do on the denominator, you do on the numerator. And same thing, I'm going to multiply the x plus 4 by what's over here, x minus 4. And what you do on one, on the denominator, you do on the numerator. So now, at least our denominators are both x plus 4, x minus 4. And then the numerators, we can simplify a little bit. This is 3x times x plus 4 minus 10x times x minus 4 all over x plus 4, x minus 4. So I need to simplify these out. But first I'm going to subtract. So when I subtract, remember the denominator stays the same. X plus 4, x minus 4. And then I'm going to simplify this. This is 3x squared plus 12x minus, and I'm going to keep this in parentheses for now because that's a minus sign. So this is 10x squared minus 40x. So that would be minus 10x squared, but plus 40x. So I have 3x squared plus 12x minus 10x squared, and then I have a minus minus, so that's plus 40x. So just to make sure I got those plus and minus signs right, that's why I kept this in parentheses. And then x plus 4, x minus 4 is x squared minus 4x plus 4x minus 16. And I'm just going to keep simplifying. So my denominator, these are difference of squares, becomes x squared minus 16. And then I'm going to combine like terms up here. So I have 3x squared minus 10x squared. I'm going to combine my x squareds. So negative 7x squared. And then 12x plus 40x is 52x. And then we'll come back up here and see that our answer's this one. Negative 7x squared plus 52x. Oh, it's x squared minus 16, not plus. So it's actually this one. So be careful with the signs. They're really close to each other. Make sure you pick the right one. And let's do another one of those. So I have an x plus 4 on the denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this 3x fraction as 3x over 1. I can make anything a fraction by putting it over 1. So now my common denominator here is, if you don't know, if you have equations, you just multiply them together. So I'm going to multiply this side by x plus 4 on the denominator and the numerator. And I don't have to multiply this side by 1 because nothing's going to change. So let's just simplify this a little bit. Over here I still have 6 over x plus 4 minus, I'm going to distribute this now, 3x squared plus 12x after I distribute, and then my denominator is x plus 4. Alright, so now we're going to combine these. So down here I have x plus 4. So I have 6 minus 3x squared plus 12x. So do you see that I did that again? I put this whole thing in parentheses because I need to make sure that negative goes to both terms. It goes to the 3x and the 12x. So I really have 6 minus 3x squared minus 12x. Okay, we really need to make sure we get those signs right. And then the denominator is x plus 4. So as I'm looking at my answers, I can see that everything's written in descending order. So I'm just going to rewrite my numerator with the x squared first. And remember to take the sign. It's negative 3x squared minus 12x. And then this is a positive 6 over x plus 4. And this would be as far as we could go. And it's right here. All right, so let's do one more. I have 3 over 8x cubed plus 10 over 3x to the 5th. All right, so common denominator. First step, we're going to look at the numbers. So 8 and 3, and we need a common denominator. So we have 8, 16, 24. 3 doesn't go into 16, but it does go into 24 if we multiply by 8. So I'm going to multiply both of those by 8. And this side by 3. So if I multiply this, I get 9 over 3 times 8 is 24, x to the 3rd, plus 10 times 8, which is 80, over 3 times 8, which is 24, x to the 5th. So that got my numbers. Now I need to look at my x's. I have x to the 5th on the right and x to the 3rd over on the left. So in order to get x to the 5th, I would multiply this by x squared. So I have 9x squared over 24x to the 5th, because I add my exponents when I'm multiplying, plus 80 over 24x to the 5th. Okay, now my denominators are the same, so when I add, I stay with 24x to the 5th, and then the top is actually added together, so 9x squared plus 80. And this is our answer. This is as simplified as we can go. It's right here. Okay, so this section requires a lot of algebra skills. Knowing how to multiply and use common denominators. So if you need